Hi, this is Abhimanyu, and I'm in conversation with Aya Cash about the girl from Plainville. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I know you have been doing a lot of these, so I'll try to keep my questions as different as possible. Otherwise, you'll get bored. So, first of all, thank you for speaking. And, in this show, you're playing a real person. But as you've spoken before, it's a real person who was playing a character as well, in the courtroom at least, right? So, how do you make sure it doesn't become a caricature? It doesn't become an impression or an imitation. It's still a performance.
I think I was given a lot of leeway from the creators. So, every job that I come on, just like when you enter a job, you sort of need to know the rules of that job and what's the culture of that job. And so they were very clear that this was not mimic. That I could make it my own, that we were fictionalizing a real person. So she had a real name and the facts of who she was were real, but that there would be a lot of play. So I feel like that was the gift that I was given to be able to create her. And, as you see when you watch real court scenes, like there is performance aspect to it.
Yeah.
So that is what I found interesting, is that performance, whether it's good or bad too. I mean, sometimes people in those performances are not very good actors, and what is
Yeah.
that?
So, one thing is there that I almost compared your courtroom monologues to almost like a Shakespearean theater performance, because they were just sometimes you had to read paragraphs and paragraphs, and not read, you have to say. And not only did you have to learn it by heart, but sort of say it with the conviction of a seasoned lawyer. Sometimes I don't know if you understood half the things you were saying because it was technical, right? So, did you do like a law 101 or did you just mug up the lines? How did you go about it?
I mean, you do have to understand what you're saying in order to say them believable, I think. I have worked with one person who will go nameless, who would sometimes tell a joke, everybody would laugh, and they'd turn to me and be like, what does that mean? And like, I was like, I don't want to tell you because you already have it down. But for me, I usually need to know what I'm saying. So it's not about taking a full law degree, but it is about making sure you understand the points you are making in order to make them. So it's definitely law light. It's below the baby bar, I would say.
But I mean, I'm from India, so here acting is a profession that you do when you can't do anything else. That's what parents think. So if an actor were to tell their family and everyone, oh, I'm playing a lawyer, they'd be like, oh, now can you sit for the bar? Can you get into a more respectable profession? Were your friends and family like that? Like, have you learned the law? Can you tell us something about this and that?
No, nobody's asked, but also I come from a family of artists. So I'm lucky that
Ah, okay.
nobody questions my career path. Everyone's just shocked I can make a living at it because you know, but I
Yeah,
was lucky to come from a family where money or success in that way wasn't the only path, which
right.
a lot of people here are also under that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been at a wedding that, let's see, what has been said to me when I've said I was an actor. Are you successful?
Okay.
What else do you do? And then, of course, my favorite is, what have I seen you in? And my response now is, tell me everything you've seen. I'll tell you if I was in it.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing to say. And I can't believe they don't know you because you have come in some of the most popular shows just right now. I'm not even talking about some years ago. So they need to watch more stuff, I suppose.
Well,
Um,
like 700 shows out right now. So
yeah, true. But one of the things that is so difficult in a show like The Girl from Plainville is because it's in recent memory. It's not about the 70s or 60s that people have forgotten. It's very recent. And with how much of courtroom drama we consume anyway, the real courtroom drama, it's sort of people remember those pictures, those videos and everything. So you have to do something which is similar to that, but different as well. Uh, how do you go about it? Do you not watch anything that happened in the courtroom and start afresh, or do you sort of take cues from that?
I watched. So I had already seen the documentary before I got the job. And then, of course, I watched it again a couple times after I got the job, just because it's useful tools. I think every actor decides for themselves, like what's helpful and what's not. Like I know an actress who did a Broadway show of a big movie, and she purposely didn't see the movie because she wanted to come at it from her own. For me, I was like, this is going to be useful tools to use, like maybe very subtle things that are probably way more noticeable to me than anybody else, but make you feel connected to the character, like the way she sort of looks up and she leads from her forehead a lot in the courtroom, whereas I tend to do this as a human.
Yeah.
So just like little things to be able to keep that. And yeah, in terms of our courtroom drama exposure, I would say that I also just trust the writers and the editors to lead us on that path. Like I can deliver what I am supposed to deliver, and then they create the thing that sort of is able to tweak it or bring you in a different way.
Actors thrive on versatility. They want variety. Of course, nobody wants to play the same kind of roles over and over again. And you've been lucky, and I would say you've been talented enough to get a lot of these diverse roles. I mean, so what is more difficult for you, playing a lawyer, a real life lawyer, or Stormfront, which is something as outlandish as, as different from this as possible? I mean, they're very different. They have their own unique challenges. What do you find more challenging?
Yeah, there's such different challenges. A lot of the challenges of Stormfront are actually more technical. It's the suit, the challenge. It's the having to do this and trust that you don't look like an idiot, because like special effects is going to make that look cool, or hopping up and down on one foot is going to be flying. So there's like a different having to be imaginative in that world, in a way that's like more like theater almost, because you have imagination to it. Whereas when you're in the courtroom, you're seeing what the reality that is going to be on screen is a lot. Even the fact that there are cameras is also what happens in a courtroom, and that there's a performance for camera and audience it's all based in reality. So in some ways that's easier. But in some ways, it's harder to be an expert in something you're not an expert in. So to make sure you bring believability to somebody else's expertise when you do not have that expertise is also a big challenge.
That's a very good way of putting it. You have to sort of lend that credibility to the persona that you're creating, because other people want it to be as credible as she was in that courtroom, and that's the real challenge. You mentioned the challenges of Stormfront are very different in terms of just standing like this with your hands up and not looking like an idiot, which you have to. I've seen the behind the scenes footage from there. How difficult is it with CGI and green screen? Because sometimes actors like to have an environment, but with something like The Boys and with something which the superhero films that we see, it's impossible to have that. Sometimes you're just in a green room with half your clothes also green, because they'll also be CGI'd later. And you have to deliver your lines with utmost seriousness. How difficult is that?
So I was lucky. I had 0 green screen on The Boys. Like when you see me up in the air, it's because I'm on a rig, and I'm not afraid of heights. I found that really fun. So there's not really any green screen, but there is obviously when I lose limbs, spoiler alert, there's grays, and I have obviously, functional prosthetics that are on my body and my skin. And so, I was lucky that a lot of it was practical. So I didn't have the experience that you hear about a lot of, like acting with a tennis ball or being in a green screen. And so I don't know if I think that would be harder for me. Honestly, I like to have a little more around, and I like especially acting with a tennis ball would be hard, because I like what I get joy from acting. It's not the only way to act, but the joy that I get from acting is interacting with another person.
Yeah. This has been wonderful. I wish we had more time, but I know you have to talk to a lot of people. So hoping to see you in more stuff, hoping to interact with you again in the future for some other thing. Thanks a lot for taking out the time, Maya, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.